And good morning to everyone. It is Wednesday, August 30th, and time for another few words from the pastor. Just a quick story that came to my mind, and hopefully I'll tie it in with why I'm sharing this story with you. Okay? It's a story about um, begins with a young woman who is grieving the loss of her brother, and a brother who was very much respected, very much valued for what he brought to her family, and herself, but also to the community. And she was really kind of always grieving very deeply about why me, Lord, why my brother, why me, why now, you know. Anyway, she was so grieving that she decided she was going to get up and search for an answer. So she began a little journey. And as she was going on the way, she came across a an older gentleman. And the older gentleman, uh, he was older than she was anyway, but still very vibrant. And again, with his hands over his face, sobbing and asking why. And she asked him, what's wrong? And he says, well, he says, I just don't understand. I'm a painter, and I do lovely paintings, and now I've lost my sight, and I don't know why. What's the reason? Why? He said, well, join me. We're going to go and we're going to find an answer to that. So the old man got up and he walked with the woman. And they came across a young man who was grieving and walking around aimlessly, sobbing and grieving. And he said, well, what are you sobbing about? He said, well, I lost my wife, my loved one, the joy of my life. I loved her and was as faithful as I possibly could be to her, and I lost her. And what was even worse, I didn't lose her to death, but I lost her to another man. And he said, I just don't understand why. Why me? Why did this happen? And they went with him. They went. She was invited, and he joined them on their journey. As they were going along, they met another young woman, sobbing on her doorstep. Really grieving and sobbing. What are you grieving about? I lost my baby, my only child. We had been preparing so long, and we waited so long for this to happen, and now look, it was taken from me so suddenly. Why, God? Why do these things? Why? And it's a proverbial question, isn't it? Why did God do these things? Um, anyway, they got up and she joined them on their journey, seeking the question why. And after a while, they came and they met Jesus. Oh, and they want to know Jesus. They confronted him right away with all of their questions. Why my brother? Why my wife? Why my eyes? Why my child? And Jesus was silent, didn't say a word. And they kept drawing closer to him. And all he said was, give me your hands. And as they reached out their hands and they held Jesus, Jesus spoke to them and said, I can't stop pain because I don't cause pain. I don't cause suffering. But I can heal it. And they all said, how? Show us how to heal this. Show us how to. And he said, by sharing it with me and me sharing it with you. There's a real understanding of suffering in Jesus' comments there. And the comment is, first, that Jesus doesn't cause pain. He might allow it, doesn't happen. It's just, but he heals it. And how does he heal it? By sharing our pain, by sharing our suffering. It's something he did through the death on the cross, and it's something he does for us today by telling us to share. We've seen all kinds of suffering in Hawaii, right? People, Maui, 70%, so much of the island destroyed. So many people lost everything they had. People having to the survivors, those who survived, only able to survive by jumping into the ocean. And what they had on their backs is what they got left, what they had left. Why? Why this loss of life? Why this loss of things? Why this terrible tragedy? The same thing. I visit people all the time Why this sickness? Why? Woman carrying for 4 years struggling with stage 4 cancer. Lost her husband recently, just a few months ago, her caretaker. Why? You know, another one lost his job for the first time. Why? I need it now. Now is the time I need it. Why? Hurt, frustrated, not knowing the answer. You know, another one fell, broke her shoulder, her hip, and while in the hospital had a stroke. Why? Why? You know, why me? Why now? It's only when we share our grief with Christ and we allow Christ to share his sorrow with us. We hold hands with Christ. We offer ourselves to that's what's going to happen. We share it with one another. We share our burden. And we wrote a letter to the people in Hawaii, our parish, and it's just a letter, but it's mainly meant to show our goodwill and our wanting to reach out and to let them know that the burden they carry, they carry not alone. That we feel their pain, we feel their loss, we feel their hurt, we feel their suffering. Not in an imaginary way, but in a very real way. We're taking up a little collection for them this week to remind them that we're part of this one family that we call humanity. And we need to rise above our petty differences from time to time. And no matter what our faith is, no matter what our creed or gender or culture is, we need to respond to hurt, to suffering, to pain. The pain of others. It shows compassion. It shows understanding. And it's the way we pass on the gift of God's love through us to others. May we, as a people, no matter what faith, no matter what creed, culture, no matter what race, we do the same. We're all brothers and sisters under the skin. Let's, in our hearts, let's reach out, not only in time of disaster, but in good times as well. Reach out to each other, share the burden, because like we say, whatever we share, all of a sudden, the burden becomes lighter. The healing process begins when we know that there are others who care enough to share that burden with us. We say, what a wonderful message of the gospel today, this week, and hopefully a message we can all take to heart ourselves. There are in the end 3 things that last: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. Mary, help of Christians, pray for us. Mary, help of Christians, pray for you.